On episode 3 of the Absolutely Geek Podcast, we have John from Mr. Senpai. John, what's good, brother? How are you, man?
I am excited and honored to be one of your guests for your new podcast.
I appreciate it, bro. I mean, it's only episode 3, so we see where it goes. We don't really know where this is going to go, but...
Always have a great time chilling with you.
Hey, man, appreciate that, brother.
It's always a pleasure.
What you been up to, bro? Like I remember the last time I think I talked to you, you were saying that you're going more into not more into, but you're doing more stuff on like the freelance work. How's that going?
Yeah. So I'm still working on my YouTube channel, and I will be uploading. I'm moving away from just making Dragon Ball content and really going into, and we can talk more about that and kind of like my strategy for YouTube that I've learned over the past few months, right? A new strategy. But yeah, it's important to learn to diversify your income. It's something that we've learned the hard way. In fact, at one point, I was a full-time YouTuber. And out of the blue, YouTube demonetized my channel. No reason.
Oh, chill.
They didn't even know why. Yeah, they had no idea why. One day, you're working. The next day, you're fired. Just like that. No reason. And it wasn't just one channel. It was both my channels. I had a second... smaller channel. Both of them got demonetized. For 3 months, I was back and forth with YouTube, and they would email me every week telling me, "Oh, we don't know why. We're still figuring it out. 3 months later, finally got monetized again. It's a bad situation to be in. So anybody who's thinking of doing it full time, just gotta know. You can either get demonetized, you can get random strikes, you can get a random ban. You never know. So because of that experience, it's important for you to diversify your income and try to find income elsewhere, not just put your eggs in one basket. So yeah, I'm working more on the production side of things. I used to do a lot of freelance videography. Right. You can see I have a good camera right here. Sony A7S III.
Ooh, so on that really quick, because I've been wanting to, so my main camera that I do everything on now is like my Pocket 6K. And then, but that's good. But my main camera that I was using for almost everything though, for YouTube for, I don't know, a better part of a year was my GH5S. And then I bought the Pocket 6K for stuff that we're doing with Ismahawk and stuff like that. So, doing more film stuff with it. But I was like, I noticed that my computer handled ProRes way easier than H.264 or H.265. So I was like, all right. And it recorded to a drive, an SSD. So I was like, I don't need to transcode it. I can just literally record it and then connect the drive and keep it pushing and just edit right off the drive. So I was like, to me, this made more sense. I was like, that just makes way more sense to do it that way. And I was like, all right. So I don't even use my GH5S. I was like, I think I want to sell that and everything I have because I want an A7S III. I want one so bad, bro. How has that camera been?
It's one of those purchases where when you first take out your wallet, you go like, damn, it is money. But once it gets here and you start to see the features and start to realize the convenience and how much time it's going to save you in post-production, right? Because it's 10-bit and all the other features that it has, you go like, okay, that was money well spent. Right? It was a good return on your investment. So, yeah, I love it, man. It's a great camera. It's going to have a high resale value whenever I need to upgrade to another one. Yeah. So that's the great thing about Sony's. You can always... I sold my A7 III. People who still wanted to pay good money for it because just the resale value is so high. Yeah.
I mean, I think, too, because you have a lot of content creators, a lot of vloggers utilize Sony cameras because of their autofocus is so good. So you have good autofocus. Exactly. My shit don't have autofocus, right? Most cinema cameras don't. So it's like, I got to stay here. And then when I was using the GH5S, you have to like figure out all these settings to try to get the autofocus to even try to cooperate, which is Panasonic's. I don't get Panasonic. I really don't. Like, you guys have great sensors, great image signal processing, and for whatever reason, y'all just will not do like phase detection autofocus. You will stay on your contrast. Like, I don't get it. Like,
contrast, yeah. That's why I sold my GH5. I just had a GH5. I sold it. Just
I
couldn't
don't
deal
get
with the
it.
autofocus anymore.
I don't understand, bro. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, can y'all just do phase attack? Like, everybody else has got on board with this, and y'all just will not do it. I don't get
Well,
it.
that's one of the biggest selling points to this camera is the autofocus. It's just
Right.
so spot on. That just saves you. You don't have to worry that you didn't get the shot. And
Bro,
if you didn't get the shot, you're gonna have to redo it. Guess what? That's more time that you're
facts.
spending. You might mess up a client work. You don't want to be in that situation. So that's why the autofocus is worth it.
Yeah, and I think that's I think the biggest thing as well is the you're constantly checking focus. Like, you can't focus on
Uh,
framing. You're now focused on, is it in focus? It's like, I just need to make sure my framing is exactly what I want versus I need to make sure that you're pin sharp and focused. Like, that's annoying, bro.
you know those people who say, "Oh, we gotta be autofocus is for noobs, it's for people who aren't experienced." Well, that's not true, right? Autofocus and these other automated tools is so that you can focus on the creative aspect of it, not the
Correct.
tedious work. For example, I got myself right here, the DJI RS2
Right.
Pro. It's expensive,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
it saves you
Yes, it
so
is.
much time. It even has this right here. It's able to connect to my phone, and essentially you can track. I can select the subject, and the
Right.
gimbal will move, and I can just focus on managing, not so much on framing. Like it's pretty cool.
I actually had the previous model that I actually sold it. I sold that in I've been selling so much gear, bro, because I'm like, why am I holding on to this? I don't use it. I was like, let me just get rid of it because I never, I used it once when I first got it because I got it when I was in Vegas. We were doing something with Ismahawk, shooting some stuff, and I ended up buying it. And I set it up once. I played with the feature of utilizing your phone, and it moves. Like, it'll mimic
Right.
your movement. I was like, oh, this is cool, bro. And I
Yeah.
put it back in the box, and I hadn't used it since. It's been over a year and a half. I've never used it. And I was like, "Why? I'm gonna
The
just get rid of
hoarder.
this, bro." Well, it's one of those things where I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll do more outside for clientele stuff. And I was like, I'm actually not doing that at all. And a lot of stuff that I'm shooting is product stuff for companies, and it's usually in a studio.
Yeah.
So I don't need this at all. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just get rid of it because I'm just holding it, and it gets less and less valuable as new technology
Yeah.
comes out anyway. So I'm like, let me just get rid of this thing, bro. Like,
I was hoarding a Weibo S while I already had another gimbal.
the Weeble,
The Zijin.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's
Yeah.
like, and it's losing value. It's like if you're not actively using a product or you don't have a client coming up, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. That's how I see it.
I mean, so what type of client work do you do? Like, what do you do now, as like far as like your freelance work or your film work? Like what are you doing now?
That's a great question. So I want to do a lot of commercial work, but I'm also getting into weddings. All right, weddings is a great way to. Everyone's getting married these
Yeah.
days. There's always going to be clients. You depend on referrals, and they pay pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, but also real estate, something I want to get into. I actually taken a real estate course for video. Brendan Washington's course, pretty good. Not sponsored, but it's a good course.
You respect it though.
Now,
I appreciate that.
yeah, no, he's awesome. And the great thing is that, like, remember, COVID happened. A lot of people paused their weddings. But if you diversify the type of clientele you do, right? You do weddings and you do real estate and you do commercial work, you're always gonna have something
Yeah.
to keep you going. But my goal ultimately is not just to do it myself. It's to have my own team, turn into like a production company,
Right.
grow, so I can just take the role of managing, doing the business side of things.
Right.
That's ultimately my goal.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fire. That's fire. Well, I mean, so
And
go ahead.
and I got a buddy of mine because getting into it's like how do you get into these things when you don't have any footage? How do you get clients, wedding clients, if you've never done a wedding before? Well, thankfully, one of my buddies, Brandon, who does weddings, he brings me on as a second videographer. He's brought me on before,
Right.
and he's gonna bring me on for a couple more gigs this year. So that's gonna allow me to not
Nice.
only get the experience, get the footage, and then eventually move on my own.
Right. That's awesome, bro. That's dope.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great, it's good for the portfolio. It's good to diversify.
So like back to the YouTube thing, because like I've been seeing on my channel, I've been seeing on other people's channels that are in the reaction space where their channels actually start getting suppressed, like in a major way. Like I'm talking about like almost systematically subscriber drops, like unsubscriber, like it'll be a constant and then 3 days later, a crazy drop. Then it goes back up, a constant, 3 days later, a crazy drop. Like it's almost like clockwork. And I had seen there's
You're
like
talking about reaction channels.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, reaction.
So, and I don't know if it's other channels outside of reaction channels, but some people, we have like a Discord server for some reactors. Like there's some pretty cool reactors on this Discord server. There's a lot of content creators on here, and people are expressing like, there's people on there talking about, I got you. There's some people on there that are like, yo, like, I've been noticing this for like the past year where they couldn't get past a certain threshold of subscribers. It just wouldn't, it would get up to a certain point and it'll unsubscribe like 50 or 60 people. And then it'll get back up and then it'll unsubscribe. Like, and it's really interesting that you almost don't know why. You don't know why, like what's going on with it. You ask questions and you get very generic or almost bot-like answers from YouTube of why something like this would be happening. But it almost seems targeted. It doesn't seem organic. It seems super targeted. And then you have...
So you're not saying that it happens at the end of a series where the show ends and then people kind of just unsub. You're talking during a series, you just start to lose subs? That's weird.
Bro, it's
of course YouTube is going to be like, we had nothing to do with it.
Bro, but it's really strange where like you'll have I'll give my example on my channel. Like I went from a certain amount of viewership on videos to like one day it just cut to like 80% of that. Like 80% of the viewership just stopped watching content. And then I started messaging people like on the community tab, and people were like, oh, I'm not getting notifications at all. And my stuff's all around. My like bell, all, whatever, I'm not getting any notifications. Then people were saying, I was unsubscribed from your channel. And I don't know why. So I'm asking other creators like, yo, have you experienced this before? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, what is the concept of that? So it's just really interesting when you're telling me like, oh yeah, YouTube is, demonetizing your channel for months at a time without any explanation of why.
None.
It's really interesting. Like as a creator on the platform, like you by default you have to try to diversify because you're like, well, I don't know what's going on here. So like, have you experienced anything outside of the demonetization that you feel is like, or have seen like, oh, this is really crazy that, have you experienced anything like that on your channel at all or?
Yeah, so I mean, I've had same. It's funny. You talk to creators, we have similar experience. Our subscribers literally messaging us, "Yo, I just got unsub from your channel, and I had nothing to do with it. What's going on?" I talked to YouTube. No, it's definitely not us. Maybe your viewers just not liking your content. They always blame your content, right?
Right.
So they always blame it on you. But I've also learned that there's really nothing that we can do besides improve our content. We can complain all day, cry to YouTube, scream at YouTube, whatever, and it could be their fault. But at the end of the day, the only power we have is just trying to understand strategy, understand the algorithm, see if there's any algorithm changes like YouTube Shorts. Maybe YouTube Shorts and the fact that they're trying to combine long form and short term, that's kind of messing up the algorithm, right? So, and there's multiple algorithms on YouTube. There's like 5 big YouTube algorithms. So understanding how you can make your content better, how you can increase your watch time, audience retention, how you can increase watch session, and learning that and then implementing it, right? And I just learned I got to stop blaming YouTube, even though it is their fault for a lot of things. And I just got to do what I can to fight an uphill battle. Because, all our lives, things are unfair. I mean,
it is what it is. it is what it is. It's like, yo, what are you gonna do about it, bro?
You complain all you want. What you gonna do? Exactly. So it's like it's gonna be an uphill battle. It's gonna be unfair, but all we can do is just take time to get better, understand the system, see if there's
Correct.
any ways that we can sort of cheat the system, right? So we can kind of get ahead of that curve.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
That's
I think
why I took time to learn and to really think about my content and my strategy before I start making content again. I'm like, I
right.
don't just want to do the same thing. What am I gonna do differently to kind of kickstart everything?
Yeah, I think that I'm in a similar scenario with like my content as well because I've been pretty solid on the diversification side of stuff, whether it be with partnerships with other stuff or brand deals or Patreon, Facebook stuff with the gaming thing that I did with them for a while, for almost a year. Stuff I did with TikTok. Like I'm very like grind heavy, right? Like, okay, where can I make sure
Yeah.
that I'm not relying on just this form of income just in case, you know? And I never want to get caught like that because I've been there before on the 9 to 5 side of things, right? So it's like I don't ever want to do that again. And I think on the YouTube side now, creation wise, I'm 100% with you.
A smart person learns from their mistake. A wise person learns from other
So
people's mistake.
facts. Facts. And I think that
And
was the thing
yeah,
for me. Like I had grown the channel just off of, oh, I want to do this. Cool. Like there's been no strategy at all for me. Right. So maybe a month and a bit ago, I was like, all right, cool. Like I need to actually strategize on how to grow my channel because I've never done it ever. I was just like, oh, cool. I want to do this. All right, cool. And then I started up in tech and then people were like, yo, like, Danny from Ismahawk was like, yo, like you should do more than just box yourself in on this. You're a big, gigantic nerd, bro. Like maybe think about other stuff you want to do because once you get this and you start building your channel on this, people only want to see that at that point. Like they only want to see it. And I was like, okay. And then so I expanded a little bit more, but then I almost got myself stuck again because algorithmically, the reactions that started going crazy algorithmically, it started suppressing my tech stuff on my channel.
yeah.
Like it wouldn't reach at all. And my tech stuff would be massively successful. And then it just stopped sharing it completely. And I was like, oh, this is wild. So I was like, you know what? Let me now just focus on what do I want this to be? I can complain about things being what it used to be, and it's not like that anymore, but it's not going to change the fact that I need to still build my shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, well, if that's the case, then I have to figure it out anyways. So
You still
I
gotta
agree with
stay
the
within a
philosophy.
niche. You still gotta stay within a niche, right? If you're
Right.
doing like anime versus tech, it's kind of hard to combine the two, although you can combine elements of both. But even if you stay within a niche, you should still find a way to make content that is appealing to a more of a general audience
Correct.
that isn't necessarily a fan of just that particular niche.
Right.
So, for example, I'm working on a series. My channel is mainly Dragon Ball, right?
Right.
But I'm a big anime nerd. It's not just
Right.
Dragon Ball. So I'm working on a series that's almost like a game show where you get fans from different type of fandoms and you put them together to compete.
Right.
Now, if I'm not an anime fan, I might not be a big fan. But that concept sounds a little bit interesting. It's just entertaining. So I
Correct.
might watch the video anyways, even if I'm a
Right.
casual versus
Right.
just a hardcore fan.
Right. That's dope. The game, I think that's the thing is figuring out something where, you know, one, it's not just you telling people stuff, but how do you get audience engaged on things to where they feel like they're part of what's going on?
I learned recently that one of the big mistakes a lot of creators make is that they stay within one type of content. You're either educational, you're entertainment, you're a blogger, but the key is to combine two into one. So if you're a blogger, how can you find a way to blog while also maybe adding elements of a challenge?
Right.
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is doing gaming channel, but he's not just playing games. He's adding challenges to that's two different type of videos into one.
Right.
That's what makes it interesting. That's something that I'm gonna be doing as well. I'm combining I do a lot of educational content, but also there's the editing side of it, there's the entertainment value, where I'm gonna try to do more of a comedy. So combining different
Right.
genres into one. And that's what you gotta do these days because it's very competitive out there.
No, that makes sense. That was the thing because so recently I'd started a tech channel that's just gonna be tech content, like tech and like future tech stuff, things that are more based around tech space, whether it be products, whether it be crypto, whether it be whatever, but it's in the tech space. And I was like, look, I need to figure a way how to make tech content timeless. And because tech content is time content by default, by definition, nobody's going back looking at an iPhone 4 review, right? Like that's just not going to happen. Which is the beauty of the reaction videos, is that content is timeless. People will come into that anime at different times. Like I watched Naruto in 2018, right? I hadn't even seen Naruto until 2018. And there's people that are coming up now that are just now watching Naruto as kids, or adults that are like, oh, I've been hearing about the series. Okay, I'll bite the bullet and watch Naruto, right? So people are coming into that content at random times, which is awesome. So I was like, how do you do that with tech content? So that's been like my thing. And I had figured out like, okay, I want to do more like comedic skit reviews on tech content. So I was like, all right, how do I make this where it's funny, hilarious? It still gives you some of that, the review-esque type of things of like information, but in a way that it's funny, where it's like, okay, like this is a skit between two people arguing about something like that, where it's more entertainment than just regurgitating tech specs and, test results.
I mean, because they come in for the information.
Right.
But then they stay because they're getting more than that. They're getting the entertainment value of it. And they're like, oh, this channel is different from the others. These other channels just get into the technical. And there's some people, there are channels that you need to have those channels that only talk about the technical aspect of things. But then you have channels that combine it with like the real world scenarios. Like, this is not a scientific test, but that's for Gerald Undone. I'm going to focus more on the real world scenario. And then maybe add some comedy to it.
Right.
You change it up. So I'm excited to see what your channel is.
Gerald Undone, he I don't know what it was, but even when I first watched him, he had like maybe 30,000 subs. And when I first started watching him, and I was like, this dude he has the voice and the composure for that type of content. Like he's almost built for that type of content. Like I was like, dude, you're analytical, but like you're not boring, even though you're super monotone. It's really weird, but he just hits. I don't know why. I'm like, because I could watch I watch his whole videos on stuff without even trying. And I'm like, oh shit, like I just watched your entire video like mad easy. Like he's different, bro. He's different.
And the great thing is that there's still room for people like that. There's not too many people like him. So if you want to start a channel like that, there's definitely a room. I was watching Marquise, MKBHD, Marquise Brown. He was talking about how, this was one of the Skillshare classes, and he was talking about how for his videos, his focus is on making educational content and essentially making it into a digestible way to understand for somebody who knows nothing about tech.
Right.
And he makes sure that in his script, he doesn't go too technical. He kind of touches the surface, but still dumps it down enough so that your average person can understand. Because that's the people he's trying to target.
Yeah. Have you seen
strategy?
Have you seen the channel Camera Conspiracies? Bro, this dude.
Camera Conspiracy.
Yo,
I love that dude.
He's amazing, bro. Like I remember because I first saw him by accident on his vegan channel. And
he's got a vegan channel.
He has a vegan channel. It was called like I keep forgetting what it's called. But I was like, yo, this dude is funny. And then I saw that he did a tech video, like a camera video, and I was like, I was like, it's the same guy. So I went and he had like maybe him and Gerald were kind of around the same numbers at that time. It was like 30,000. So I've been watching this dude grow from like 30K, and he's hilarious. But he was almost the inspiration of like, maybe I can do tech content and comedy and goofiness in there. Cause like I'll go back and watch his older reviews when he does like his boardroom stuff. Like he's so funny to me, bro. Like he's mad dry. He's great.
Super dry. Now I will say one thing about his channel though. I would watch it more, but it focuses too much on that sarcastic comedy and doesn't give me enough of the tech and information. And I just wish that he maybe lowered the comedy and like kind of mixed it in with more information. Maybe that's an opportunity you can take.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing too that I noticed. So I would only go to him after I saw the reviews that I needed to see. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm like, all right, cool. Let me see how this dude, what he thought about this camera. And it was more so afterwards, right? So he still gets my view on that, but I only went for the comedic, right? And I love it. I love his focus though of like, I'm just trying to find the perfect camera. Cause it's an impossible task. You know, it's like you're never going to find it because by definition, they're tools designed for a specific use. So
Yeah.
it's really, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what is the perfect camera? Like, how does that make sense? Because it's impossible to find.
But that's the thing. He doesn't get your priority view. So if you are busy and you only have time for one video, you're gonna go for somebody more technical, even though they might be less boring, and you'll make time for him afterwards, right?
True.
And that's the thing. I think he would do better if he just had a little bit more technical in his videos. People might prioritize his videos over somebody else because they're getting both
True.
comedy and entertainment and technical.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Okay, so in that, like, do you think? Because I hear this all the time, and I talked about it with Danny as well. Like, the idea of this, you know, saturation on the platform of genres. How do you feel about saturation on YouTube?
When it comes to gaming, it's hard not to argue that it's saturated.
Okay.
'Cause there's so many channels doing the same thing, but saturation doesn't exist overall, I think, because there's always something you can do different. Although I'm not gonna lie, the longer you wait, the more that other channels might take the opportunity, right? And depending on the space, you can't have too many of the same type of channels. But there's always gonna be either your ethnicity, your style, the music. There's different ways to make yourself different from others. But you still need to provide a value that's better than what everyone else is giving.
Right.
Otherwise, it's gonna be hard to grow. So I don't think there's too much saturation, but I do think it's harder to stand out the longer you wait.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, one thing that I started to notice is certain channels doing the same content, but in a different language. And like they would blow up. Like there's a car channel that I used to follow, Heavy Salamandrin, and he started a car channel in Spanish. And it's the same content, but he would just do it in Spanish because he speaks Spanish. And that market just ate it up. Like they were like, oh, like it's in Spanish. I don't have to read subtitles. I don't have to try to understand English. Or if English is my second language and you're speaking too fast, I don't want to have to, you know, like. And I was like, yo, that's super dope for people that have that ability. Depending on the content, right? You can't do a whole nother vlog in Spanish. Like, all right, let's do another take, guys, in Spanish. But I feel like
supply and demand.
Yeah, that shit is fire. I was like, man, I wish I had another language.
Back when I was doing a lot of Dragon Ball content, I noticed that the Dragon Ball videos, it's in Spanish, not mine, but other channels, they will blow up, bro. 1 million views easily. But it was always a robotic voice. It was like there's no human behind it.
Got it.
And I'm like, yo, if only I started a Dragon Ball channel in Spanish, I'll be like one of the only people who's actually making like original content with like a face, right? Quality. But hey, guess what? I just didn't have the time. And I knew that the AdSense will be much, much lower because in the audience is in Latin America, it's different type of AdSense ad revenue.
Right.
But yeah, man, if you have the tools to have a channel in a different language and that region, that language doesn't have the type of content that you're providing, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, that shit is fire, bro. Like, it's just interesting. Like, I remember when I want to say it was maybe 2017 at VidCon, and somebody was talking. I was with Ism Hawk. We were walking around, and people were like, oh my god, like I want to start a YouTube channel, blah blah. Because you get that a lot. Like if people know that you're a content creator, they want to be like, yo, I want to get into this. And people were like, oh, and at that time it was like the adpocalypse thing was going on, and right, and they were like, look, like what should we do? Like how should we? And I was like, look, bro, like the platforms are always going to change. It's always going to do that. And it's just figuring out, okay, like, where is the shift now? And like, where's the target? And let's move where the target is. Like, but I think a lot of people get stuck in it used to be this way. So, like, okay, so then in your space, like, because a lot of the informative educational content in anime has become, I think for me anyways, has become a very popular segment in the anime community as far as the people doing like education or what ifs or theories or, you know, a lot of this stuff has kind of come out. But I think the most popular has come, at least from what I've seen, is like the power scaling stuff, like this person versus that person, or how strong is this person, or is like, do you watch that type of content, or are you more like, what kind of content do you actually consume, even though you're a creator of educational anime content?
You're talking about specifically with anime, right? What type of anime content I consume on YouTube?
Yeah, if any.
Because I consume a lot of things in different genres, so
right.
A lot of things. Right. But in terms of anime, if you're asking just about anime, to be honest, I don't care about what if videos. What if doesn't interest me because what if, well, it's never gonna happen because it didn't happen. It's not canon, right. So I just I don't care unless you can find a way to. There is a what if channel that I have watched before, but it's not anime. It was What If Star Wars. And that's not the name of the channel, but what if Star Wars content is interesting because they try to make it as realistic as possible and give you a scenario that I'm like, oh, I wish this would happen. Other than that, power scaling, I do like Nox Taku's. He doesn't really do power scaling, but he does that series where he says the biggest flexes in anime.
Oh, that's dope.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I've noticed that I've been leaning more towards comedy anime. There's channels that, for example, the OG, Mystic Chronexia, big fan of him.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Unfortunately, you're not familiar? He's an OG, man. He's one of the, The problem is that his style didn't change, like ever, for like 10 years. It was just the same style. It didn't stay with the current times and the trends, and eventually he stopped uploading on his main channel because it died down. And that's what happens when you don't change your style. When I talk to Geekdom, for example, we're always talking about, all right, bro, you do great content, but maybe you should add a little bit of editing here. Maybe you should add this and this and that, right? So you can always stay fresh and current in terms of your content evolving.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake people make, that they stay the same because it's always been working for them. But what you're doing right now may not work 2 years from now.
Right.
So you got to always make sure you're watching other people, see what they're doing, what's working for them, and then adapt and change.
Right. Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's
I watch a lot of entertainment challenges and just kind of dumb content on YouTube.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, what's your top 5 channels that you watch? Like, you're like, these are channels that I watch regardless of genre. These are the ones that I'm like, these are like my go-to.
So I really like there's a podcast, Trash Taste. I like it because, it's being run by Gyuk and the Anime Man, and forgetting his name, but a few other people.
Right.
It's a great channel. They do a podcast together, and they just talk about Japan culture, anime sometimes, but a lot of just Japanese culture and anime. That combination is just really interesting. I really love that podcast. I watch Nox Taku from time to time. I don't like most of his content, but there are certain series that he does that I find really entertainment, like the biggest flexes in anime, for example. I find that entertainment. Reaction channels, I don't necessarily follow specific reaction channels, but I do like from time to time on a random Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever, just search blah 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 episode reaction and just relive and seeing it from somebody else reacting. Like it's just fun for me being able to kind of share that experience with somebody or watching them do that. Overall, Geekdom. I watch Geekdom a lot for Dragon Ball content specifically. Yeah, man, I have so many other type of contents that I watch that I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch too many anime YouTubers. There's so many type of videos that I watch online.
Yeah, I'm the same. Because I know people are like, oh, do you follow this reactor? I was like, honestly, bro, like, I don't watch reaction videos. Like, it's rare. Like, I think the only reactor that I will go and watch, if something drops and I'm like, oh, I want to see how this person feels about X, Y, and Z, is honestly Tyrone Magnus. He's the only person that I'll actually go and be like, how is Tyrone? Like, it's something about, like, I think a lot of it too is, to me anyways, he was like the guy that started, like, really got this shit popping, right? Like, and for whatever reason, his simplicity of how he does stuff is really why I think he is so successful in it. Like, he keeps this shit mad chill. Like, camera's on, I sit down, there's no crazy edits, there's no, like, it's just, this is it, right? And his personality just flies off the camera. Like, so I feel like for me, reactions fit him so well, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I remember early on when I started doing reactions, people were like, yo, like you're overacting, you're overreacting. And a lot of my friends that know me were like, no, like, that's how he is. Like, he does that in real life. Like, I don't think, like, people assume, like, oh, yeah, some people put the shit on. Some people, like, you know, oh, let me do something extravagant for this reaction. But some people just are that excited about shit. And I think Tyrone just has, like, that. He's just a big energy. So,
but notice the contrast between he gives that impression, and he's a very nice guy, very sweet guy, just a fun, but at the same time he's this bulky guy looking like a bear that can beat you up, right? So that contrast makes it interesting. You're expecting this tough guy, but no, he's just like a chill, nice dude, which just happens to have gigantic muscles the size of my head. So good, you know. So I really like his content.
Yeah, he's cool. Anime content, I like yours, Geekdoms. If I want to go into the scaling stuff, I'll jump into Seth for a little bit. What's his name? Is it Swag Kage? Yes. No. Yes. Is that his name?
Swag Kage. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've checked out his stuff before. But as far as, like, anime content, it's kind of like my extent. Sometimes I agree. Some episodes I'm like, oh, I gotta see how this person reacted to this. Like, I'll jump in. I'll go to Super Mecha Freeze to see how she did. I'll jump into Alana. Sometimes I'll go to Struck by Bells. Sometimes I'll go over to your boy Roshi. Like, certain people, like, I'll jump over and be like, I just want to see how they responded to this, because, you know. Yeah. And there's, like, that community aspect of that for sure, that you just want to be like, how this person, like, I want to see people hype on this too, right? But I'm with you. Like, I think outside of that, bro, the primary stuff that I watch is usually car content, is tech content, and, like, I like podcasts a lot. I like conversations. I like conversations that are opposing.
Like, yes, opposing views.
I like perspectives. So I love seeing people have a conversation that are literally they're not arguing. They're having a conversation of opposing views. So I love that. I love that type of stuff, especially when it comes with Joe. Like, I love Joe Rogan's podcast a lot, because a lot of people get it confused. I think they're like, oh, well, he had this person on there. It's like, it doesn't necessarily mean he agreed with him. He's having a conversation with them. So I love that type of stuff. But yeah,
I was recently one of my favorite videos that I did a couple of months ago was with Geekd. He brought in myself, Unreal NT Gaming, and Emosh. And what was fun about that is the fact that my views were totally separate and opposing with Unreal NT Gaming and Emosh. So we had a good, like, back and forth, just argue. I mean, it wasn't like a heated argument or anything like that, which is different views. But that's what made it interesting, and that's what made it entertaining.
Right.
If we were just agree with each other the whole time, it just wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though, bro. Like, I don't know where, and we had talked about this me and Danny had talked about this as well, as, like, I don't know when, but there just got to a time where if you don't love something, people assume that you hate it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you thought
that
it was
mom mentality.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, Oh, you don't like this? Then you're trash. Or you don't think this is great, so you hated it. Or oh, you're not on this team, so you're the enemy. It's like, what? What happened? How did we get here?
I can criticize any show, pretty much every YouTuber, something that I don't like. We talked about camera conspiracies. Doesn't
Right.
mean we hate the guy. We
Right.
love his content. But there's
Right.
things that areas where he can make improvements. And
Right.
I love it when people come to me and tell me, "Yo, I like your content, but you can do this better." Right? That to me that's valuable information.
I agree.
Somebody doesn't like my content, I want to know why. What about it can I improve? But yeah, there's a mob mentality out there, man. Cancel culture, a lot of things where they just want to cancel you, and that's
I hate
crazy.
it. I actually hate cancel culture, bro. I like it's at first I didn't really care about it, right? I was like, okay, whatever. But then it just got to the point where it's like, guys, like you guys are taking this shit way like it's an overcorrection. It's like, guys, like we're going too far the opposite direction. It was almost like it's almost you've seen Death Note, right?
Yeah,
It's
of
almost
course.
like it's almost like Light, right? Where the idea is he wants to get rid of all bad people. He wants to get rid of right, and it's like cool. We're good. We get it. You want to save the world. You want to get rid of crime and evil people. Cool. And then it just gets too extreme. Where you're just like, whoa, we're going. You crossed good into evil. It's like a big circle, right? And you have good and evil, but they still meet on either side. And as soon as you go over, now you're in evil and you didn't know it because you overcorrected. And it's what it feels like we're in.
We've normalized, our society has normalized collateral damage. Collateral damage in war, in cancel culture. Heck, even in something as simple as, well, not simple, but the death row or the death penalty. It's
Right.
like, well, sure, maybe hundreds of people who are innocent die, but in the process, we're killing some bad people. It's like, I'm not okay with that collateral damage. Right? And same thing with cancel culture. There's people whose lives are ruined, who are innocent,
Yeah.
but but people are okay with that type of sacrifice for the
Right.
pursuit of justice.
Right. Yeah, it's really weird, bro. And I feel like it's, and even still, like, I think sometimes people forget that the majority of people want the same stuff. It's just how we go about it that we disagree on, right? Nobody's want
Yeah.
like, yo, I want everybody to have terrible lives. People always want themselves to feel safe, their family to be taken care of, their kids to have opportunity. You know, people kind of all want the same stuff, right? So
Yeah.
inherently, the majority of people are good people. It's just how we go about stuff that people differ. But then it's like, well, if you think of it this way, then you're trash or you're evil or you're bad. It's like, whoa, how, what? We all kind of want the same things, guys. Like, so it's just really strange that whether it be in media, whether it be in tech, anime, there's this tribalism just becomes like crazy.
If most people had a death note drop on them, could it be that the majority of them would be just like Light,
100%.
where they'll be okay?
100%, bro. That's the reason why I think Death Note was so powerful to me. Is like Light is almost what every person would do.
Exactly. He wasn't necessarily evil. It's just like that's what most people probably would do.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that's why to me Death Note is so powerful. Is it's not the fact it's not the fact that this guy has a book and he can write. It's the fact that he's an example of what the majority of people would do if they had the ability to get rid of people. They're like, well, shit, like I can just erase somebody. Oh, this person's a rapist. Gone. You're a child molester. Gone. You're a murderer. Gone.
Ex-girlfriend.
Bro, and it would just get it would just get crazier and crazier. Like, because it's like, oh, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm doing people a favor. And then it just becomes way too crazy.
And you saw what happened in Death Note. Cancel culture, the mob, was supporting Light Yagami. They were like, yes, Kira. Right?
Exactly,
Just
bro.
like nowadays, cancel culture supports that type of mentality. You're
Bro.
totally right.
It's so weird, bro, but Death Note I think that's the powerful message that's like the subliminal there. It's like this could be anybody. Light could be any one of us. right?
Yeah.
Like, so that anime is kind of wild, bro. Like, I forget how deep that anime is, especially the first half of it. The first half is like,
Oh
A1.
yeah.
The first half is great. Second half, it's good, but that first half is godlike.
It was ahead of its time, man.
It was, bro. It really was, man. Okay, so like in the anime space, I have to ask. I know everybody's gonna want me to ask you this, so I was like, let's just have the conversation about it.
Who's my biggest crush?
What? First of all, let's actually talk about this, because I feel like every anime fan has had that anime waifu that they're like, damn, like if he was a real person though, like if he was a real person.
Oh, I thought you were talking about YouTubers.
Oh no! Oh no!
YouTube crush.
Not the YouTube crush. I actually don't have one. I don't think I have a YouTube crush. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're single, you're allowed to. If you're,
I don't have one. I don't think I have one. I don't think I've ever had like oh man, like that YouTuber, I really want to meet that. I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever had that before.
oh yeah, I definitely have those, especially the nerdy ones who are like really into it. Not like, I'm not so much into cosplay, but the ones that like enjoy anime and they just seem really chill, and I'm like, yo, that's cool. Like that's a
Yeah, for sure.
waifu material right there. Waifu, in terms of waifu, I mean, it's hard to beat Rem, bro.
Yo, okay. All right. Real shit. Real shit. I hate ReZero. Hate it with a passion. But Rem is waifu for sure. For sure. I'm like, yo, she's the one, bro. Like, she is so with it. So with it.
She's just supportive. I mean, what else can you ask for? Somebody who's supportive, there for you, make you smile. Like, that's pretty cool. It's hard to find that.
Yeah,
It's
Rem
there.
is
But
dope, bro. Rem is dope for sure. Because I haven't.
besides,
I'm gonna give season 2 more of a chance. I stopped reacting to it because like I can't watch this right now, and it almost became a chore to watch. But I'm assuming you've seen all of season 2.
I've seen everything.
How from your perspective, like how is ReZero for you? Like what, like do you fuck with it? Do you not?
If you can survive the first 10 episodes of season 1 and the drag, to me, that was a drag. You can survive season 2. Season 2, the problem with season 2 is that it feels like everything is enclosed in one location. It almost feels like it's a smaller story, and you kind of just want to get to the end already and move on to bigger and better things. Towards the end, it got better. It was definitely more interesting. Overall, the season was a drag. But it's one of those things where I'm like, all right, I kind of have to see where it ends now. I have to watch it, you know?
Okay.
It wasn't that I was excited about it. I was not excited to watch every week. I'm more excited to watch Megalobox every week. That thing
Yo,
is fire.
I need to watch that because I've
As
been
an
told that it's
immigrant,
fire.
they're literally telling the immigrant story. It's
Oh,
completely
word.
different from season 1. Yeah, season 2, it's all original. Season 2, they're telling basically the story of an immigrant, but it's not just him. It's not just Joe, but it's other people around him. And I mean, you see racism, you see discrimination in it, and we connect to it. It's really touching. Yeah, you have to
Megalobox.
watch it.
Okay.
There's less
That's on
boxing,
Netflix,
there's less
right?
fighting. I'm not
Is it
sure if
Netflix
season
or?
2 is.
Okay, got it.
Season 1, I think, is. I don't know about season 2, but yeah, there's less boxing in it this time around in season 2. But the story is just incredible. Music, they even have Spanish music, where
Oh,
they speak
dope.
Spanish sometimes, and they're like singing, "Yeah, mi amor." Blah, blah. It's really cool, bro. The
Oh, that's
music of
dope.
the whole show, the ending theme songs in different language. It's just a beautiful show.
I haven't asked to watch it. I just haven't watched it. So like, what would you rate it? Like, would like that first the first season that is on Netflix? Because I've seen it at least here in Australia. It's on Netflix. What would you rate it? Like out of 10? Like what would you say? Like
It's solid 8. A
okay,
solid 8 because if you're expecting the best animation when it comes to fighting, you're not gonna get it.
right.
And also the art style seems that it's grainy. It seems a little more old school,
I
old
like that though.
fashioned.
I like that though.
But the story, the character, the music. You're a dancer, so I know for a fact you're gonna love it because the music is just so chill. It's got that
Right.
lo-fi vibe to it that
Okay.
is really cool. I think you will love it. For me, it's more like a 9. But objectively speaking, I think it's more of an 8.
I mean, 8 to me is a must watch. Like, I think, at least for me, like I rate stuff how we used to rate stuff at Apple. Because I used to work at Apple for like 7 years. So for me, we would rate things based off of numbers, not grades. So a good review on something would be like 7 to 8, right? Whether you get like a something from a customer giving their feedback on your experience. 7, 8 was good because if you have 10 or 100 of things that you can check, and 70% of that is green and the 30% is red, you're looking at the 70% of it that's green. You're like, oh damn, like this is a lot that's good, right? Versus the small portion of it that isn't. And then 9 and 10 is like excellent. Like, oh, you're crushing, right? So to me, a 7 and an 8 is like, oh, you got to watch this. Like, this is something that you're going to be, okay, cool. This is it. And I kind of give like a 5, like an average, like, all right, it's cool. Like, cause you like some of it and you don't like some of it. So
I'll tell you this, there's no other show like season 2 of Megalobox out there. And that's the unique thing about it, that you're going to get a unique experience that you're just not going to find in another anime. How many animes are out there telling an immigrant story that you can relate to, that are having multiple cultures, multiple languages in the anime, that have that chill vibe to it, but also combining boxing? I mean, there's nothing like it. And even though season 1 is more about one person's story, Joe, season 2 goes beyond that. It's really awesome, bro. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I started getting into the sports anime because of Haikyuu, and now I'm like, oh, I need to get into this because, and Toshi watches Ippo and he's like, yo, Ippo is my shit. Like, Toshi's a fighter, so for him, he resonated with it immediately. But in athlete, and the principles in athletics is the same for business, is the same for anything that you're aspiring to be, right? The consistency, the determination, the failures, the overcoming failures, that work ethic is applicable to success in everything. So watching Haikyuu, I was like, yo, I love the vibe, but I just love the persistent execution of, I need to continue. I need to get better. I need to, damn, we lost. Okay, what do I need to work on? Like, I love that feeling. So sports anime right off the top, I'm like, I need to watch more of this stuff for sure. So Megalobox, I'm about to put on that list, bro, because I've been hearing good things about it. People want to have me watch so much stuff, and like me trying to figure out what am I going to make content and what am I just going to watch for myself is like a daily battle for me.
Right.
So yeah, because of you, bro, I'm putting it on the list. I'm putting it on the list, bro.
If from one dancer to another, man, you good luck trying not to dance while you're watching. There's just some nice beats in there.
Bro, the dancer's Tourette's. Okay, so question, like, because I call it dancer's Tourette's. I used to do this when I was working at Apple, bro. Like, music, like, okay, check this out. Be honest, right? As a dancer, your non-dancer friends, all right? Say you're with your non-dancer friends, right? And you hear music that they don't fucking hear. Like you could hear music in a restaurant or whatever, or somewhere that do you ever have that experience where you're like, oh, that's my shit? Like, and people are like, what? You don't hear that song? Like, do you ever do that ever?
Yeah, no, you can hear the beats, you hear the in-betweens, and even if it's something that doesn't have a beat, if it's just lyrics, you can still see the flow and a way to dance to it. Other people are like, yo, how do you dance to this? And I'm like, it's right there, man, it's in the song, you hear it? Right. Yeah, no, I definitely hear, and it's kind of hard not to dance. What I've developed is what Goku and Jiren do, when they can kind of imagine a scenario and kind of live through that. So that I kind of daydream dancing while still trying to be in the moment.
Yo,
like,
I'm
dancing in my head.
I'm with it, bro. I would do that with customers, bro. Like, cause like Apple has ambient music, right? So you'll have music that'll be going on in the Apple store, and I'm with a customer, and I'm just like, doing like just subtle hits and stuff, and just
twitching your muscles,
twitching. Exactly. I'm just like, oh shit, don't, and I'm just like, okay. And people, and like my coworkers would be like Dos always dances with his customers. I'm like, Like, bro, like I tell customers too, like, hey, if I start dancing out of nowhere, it's just my dancer's Tourette's. It just comes in when I hear stuff. So just be okay with it. Like, I'm serious. Like, I would say that with every person I interacted with, bro. Because if I'm hearing music, my body's just going to go.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
You can appreciate music more too that way. You hear the flow of every song. Even something that doesn't seem like you can dance to it, you can still find a way to do it.
Yeah. I think, okay, so, because like how old are you?
29.
29. Okay, so when you were coming up dancing and stuff, like, when did you start dancing, by the way? Like, because we had this conversation on like the cyber hype and stuff, because I remember you were on So You Think as well. Yeah. Like, when did you start dancing and like what styles did you start in?
Middle school, I started breakdancing because I was bullied. I was bullied because I didn't speak English. Literally I didn't speak English, so people bullied me, and I'm like, all right, I gotta find a way to be cool. And I saw, if I can do this breakdancing moves, it's like I'll be the cool guy because no one else can do that. That got me into it. In high school, I went to an all-male, 99% white upper high school. I was like the only kid from the city. I started my own breakdancing club there, teaching all the kids how to breakdance. And I was no expert, bro, but to them, I was the expert.
Right, like, yo, I'm here, I'm doing it. That's awesome.
Then in college, I started a dance crew and doing choreography, hip-hop, that sort of stuff. We got first place our first year. It was awesome. And after that, So You Think You Can Dance. And dance as a whole has always been part of me. But yeah, since I was very young, I started dancing.
Man, bro, I wish I was in it. I wish because I started dance late. I started when I was 19 and then started dancing like crews, right? Like, and it was actually because of music. I was recording music at the time, heavy. And I had an award show that I was performing at, and I needed dancers. And I was like, oh, shit, I need to get dancers. And a friend of mine was like, oh, yeah, Culture Shock Vegas, you should come to our rehearsal, blah, blah. And then one of my other friends was like, oh, no, I have this other crew you should check out. So I checked them out, and I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to get you guys on board for this performance. And as they're teaching me stuff, like, hey, like, maybe you should dance with us at this thing. Like, you can actually kind of, get choreo, blah, blah. So I started dancing with them as well. And then it just spiraled. Like, as a creative, like, you know what? When you're a creative and you start dabbling into stuff and you see, like, I know this much about all of this, it almost drives you into it more. You're like, okay, I want to know more about this. Like,
yeah.
So that literally started everything for me when I think it was like 2006. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go in. And I was like 19 years old. And I was like, all right. And a year later, I was dancing with like professional gigs and stuff. And I loved it. I was like, this is dope. So
it's a lot of fun. One of my girlfriends I met through dancing, I was teaching. And my last day, she showed up on my last day. And I was, this is my last day. So then she decided to drive me to the station. And I was like, in the car, I was like, yo, bro, I gotta make a move. I don't make a move on people like that, but I'm like, I gotta at least say, yo, we should hang out or something. And went from there.
Hey,
we're not together, no, but
the story,
had a good experience. Yeah.
It's so crazy too, though. But I've met a lot of people that got into dance because of, like, some of my best friends. Like, when they were doing it in high school, when they first started dancing, they're older than me. They were like, hey, like, we wanted to get the girls. Like, the girls like dancers, so we was like, cool. Like, or popularity or what, but it was like the catalyst that got them into it. And then they were like, oh, this is like my shit though. Like, even though that was the initial push, this is like, I love this a lot. So it's so interesting.
There is one downside. I don't know if you find this, but right, you're a professional dancer. You know how to bust a move. But when you go to the club, right, how do you balance between not looking like an asshole show-off, egotistical dancer, and I feel like you have to suppress your dancing, kind of dumb it down. Yeah. Right? Do you feel that?
100%. So, okay. So I have a couple of things. Twofold. I was born and raised in Vegas, so clubs are Vegas, and the clubs in Vegas are packed. So, one, I don't drink alcohol. Two, I hate packed spaces. So I would go and I'm like, I can't even dance if I wanted to in here. Like, even if I wanted to dance in here, it's too claustrophobic, too crowded, people stepping on you. And I'm not about it. But in certain places that you go that are chiller and have space, 100%, bro. You want to like really just go, but if you're the only one that is a dancer like that there, it then becomes like you almost stand out in a negative fashion. Unless you are a b-boy or something where you're doing something crazy and people are like, oh yeah. But if people don't understand like a trick, they're like, oh, that's a cool flip you did. Like, they don't really know musicality. They don't know texture. They don't know shape. They don't know any of this stuff. So when you're moving, they're just kind of like, oh, who's the weirdo? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you almost look weird.
Or some people say, oh, look at that show off. Look at that person showing like a little too much. It's annoying. I mean, I get the girls saying complimenting and stuff, but hey, at least we can use our hips.
Hey, yo, I've told people multiple times, like, yo, the best sex is with dancers. I'm telling you that right now. I promise you right now, everything I love, it's the best. I'm telling you as a fact. So if anybody's watching this, if you know a dancer, shoot your shot. That's all I'm saying. It's a different experience. I mean, so you think, like, how was that experience, bro? Because I mean, I've done TV shows, and I hate them all. But how was your experience with So You Think?
The judges, amazing. I love the judges. The producers, assholes. To be honest, they weren't very nice. I mean, I was expecting a little bit of that, but I didn't realize just how mean they were. They're just very cold and dry, and but the judges, I had a better relationship with them. In fact, Nigel gave me his phone number, so that was really cool of him. I mean, they were really nice. The people that were there were awesome. It part of it seemed a little bit fake, not the dancing itself, but just the order of things. So when you're watching the TV show, the order that you see is not the order that happened in real life.
Correct.
No, for me, I was literally at the end. I'm not kidding you. On my by the time I made it to the final round of auditions, I was at the back. So my performance was like the last one of the day on the last day. Right. But on the show, when the show aired, I think I was there for like when they went to Boston. They showed Boston. Maybe it was 2 or 3 days that they showed, but they showed me as like day one, even though I was on the last day. So there's that editing magic.
Bro, when I did season 2 or 3 of American Idol, and it came to Vegas, and I remember this is like the first time I had ever experienced TV on that side of things, right? So I was like, all right, so we get to Orleans Arena, and there's like 8,000 people in this arena, right? And on the arena floor were like booths. There was maybe like 10 booths. And at each of those booths were about 4 or 5 judges at each of those booths, right? And what they would do is they would call down a section of the stadium, come down to the floor, you would make your way down, and you would line up at these booths, and you would audition first to these people, right, on each of one of these booths. So if you're in this line, that's the booth you go to, you audition, and if you pass, then they send you on to day 2. Day 2 was another tree-shaking, essentially, audition. You're auditioning in front of another group of judges. And then day 3 was when you met Paula, and all them, right? Mm-hmm. Paula, Simon. So day 1, I'm there, and I'm hearing terrible, outlandish singers, like bad. And they're getting sent through to day 2. And I was like, time out. So you see Simon dog people on this show, like, yo, you're terrible. Like, who told you were bomb? But they just made it through 10,000 people, judges telling them, oh yeah, you're good. Go to the next one. How do you think they feel getting into that on TV? They're thinking like, oh, I'm doing it, right? Now, some people are trolls and they'll do it on purpose, but other people really feel that they're dope. and you're leading them on to believe that they're good, to then tell them that you're garbage on live TV. And that fuck with me. I was like, I don't fuck with that at all. Like, I was like, I do not like that, bro. And I was like, I'm cool.
Thankfully, So You Think You Can Dance wasn't like that. They didn't try to put in bad dancers through. They only try to put in the good dancers.
Right.
If you stood out. I will say one thing that surprised me though was the first time I saw the judges, or you see me on TV, them seeing me. It's actually not the first time you audition for them.
Right.
On that same day, you actually auditioned for those same judges earlier. First, you audition to the producers, but then you audition to the actual judges. And then you make it through that round, you audition for them again, but now with the TV and the cameras and everything.
Right.
Also, we had a freestyle. We had 15 seconds. They lined us up as 10 people. And then, all right, number one, go. 15 seconds to show your moves. That's it. That scared me, bro, because I'm like, yo, I might not make it. Like, I've made it this far, bro. I got 15 seconds to show the judges that, like, put me through, yo. And you don't pick the song. It's just random song that you hear, and all of a sudden, all right, number 4, you're next. 15 seconds, and then they just say, okay, stop. Next. Intimidating.
No way, bro. So, Jesus
15
Christ.
seconds, bro.
So
Not even
essentially,
30.
so it's kind of wild. Like, I think people that don't know, like, dance like that, and they're like, oh, 15 seconds, go. What do you mean? Like, where in the song are we? Right? So right, like there's all types of shit there where it's like, well, is it the same song, same loop that they're playing over and over 15 seconds, or is it just wherever the song lands?
Wherever the song lands, literally.
Wow.
And no matter, remember, this is before you even get the chance to perform your actually piece. Right, whatever you came with, 2-3 minute piece, if you don't make it past these 15 seconds and impress them, you're not even gonna get to that point.
So a lot of people are doing tricks and stunts.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are trying to do tricks and stunts and just to impress.
Yo, that's so wild to me.
Then the producers line you up, and they literally with a straight face, they walk by you. They go, you, leave, or they'll do the opposite, stay. Everyone else leave. Like, yeah. And you never know what was going to happen. There was this intimidation, like suspense factor. Oh, it's not. So when they went by and they picked me, I was the only one in my group. And they picked me. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting kicked out. You stay. I was like, yes.
Yo, bro.
I got to stay.
That's like auditions in LA. Like, they do tree shakes. So you'll go to an audition, and before you even dance, they line you up. Everybody line up. Whether it be body, whatever, doesn't matter. Line you up, go home, go home, go home, go home, stay, go home.
You haven't even danced yet?
Before you even dance.
It's right? Just on looks.
100%. Like, so here's my, and I know some, early on people were really upset about it. When you first get into that scenario, you've never been in before, like, what? But it's like, guys, let's speak logically here. You are there as they treat dancers as accessories anyways, right? So if you're dancing for Beyonce, let's say, right? There's an aesthetic that goes along with Beyonce. There's an image that goes along with Beyonce. So if you don't fit said image or aesthetic, it doesn't even matter if you're the best dancer on the planet. If you're 5'2", you're gonna look tiny on stage with Beyonce. It doesn't work. So it's finding what works well visually alongside this artist. So in that space, when you first get into that, you don't really understand that. And some people that I've known that have been in the industry for the longest still don't grasp the concept of like, well, it's body shaming. Like, no, you're missing it is marketing.
Yeah.
This is who they are. So if you don't align with that, I don't care if you're the dopest dancer in the world, you're going against the marketing, period. So I think it's one of those things that it's really tough for people to grasp early on, but
that's why I tell dancers who come to me and say, yo, how can I become a professional dancer, et cetera, et cetera. And I tell them, you need to think of yourself like an entrepreneur, and you're doing your own marketing as well, because you don't have any leverage. So you need to create leverage. Le Twins, they have leverage, right? They have a style that they're known. They have a brand that follows them, essentially. So you need to be able to stand out, utilize social media, it doesn't mean you're gonna guarantee a job for every audition,
For sure.
but a company may see the value in the fact that you're recognized, that you do have some sort of leverage, right? People may share the video more because you're in it versus another dancer. So you need to create that leverage.
I agree.
Otherwise, you have zero.
So here's my thing, because my thing with dance in general is, and we had recorded a documentary that we're going to be pitching to Netflix here in Australia. Maybe
Word.
a year and a half ago, we had flown all of A-Team out here. We did like this tour situation. We filmed it, and a lot of the principle of it was focused around dancers and their how they're viewed as artists or lack thereof, how they're treated, what their pay looks like. Like it's pretty crazy. But in that, a lot of people that don't really understand is dancers are at a weird intersection. We're at an intersection of athlete and artistry. We're probably one of the only things that do that, right? Where you are an athlete when it comes to what your body is going through. And I think there was a report that came out either early this year or late last year that was talking about the most physically strenuous jobs on the planet. And dancer was number one on what it does to your body. But then it had the pay equal to that, and it was nowhere near, right? So, so in the industry, like dancers' rates haven't gone up in over 30 years, right? At all. Their base rate has not increased in 30 years. So that's the first thing. But if you look at it from a perspective of professionalism, right? It's a go-to-market strategy that is the problem for dancers. There is no go-to-market strategy. What does that mean? That means if I'm a musician, if I'm a singer, I can produce a song that people want to listen to, buy, and consume. I can tour it, X, Y, and Z. I can make money from it. If I'm an actor, I'm in a movie, right? Like there's things that I can produce that people will buy and consume. One, people don't buy dance. They don't do it unless you're trying to become a dancer and you go to class, right? Yeah. But there's no leverage beyond that as far as like, oh, I did something once and I can make money off of it over and over and over, right? And it's the only artistry that relies on another artistry to exist. Yep. It needs music to actually function properly. So let's say YouTube or TikTok or whatever, I do a dance piece to a Drake song, right? And demonetized, right? And people are like, hold on, right? So as the artist, as the music artist, I get it. Look, I want to have control over how my art is distributed, how it's received. I get that. On the other side of it, as the dancer, they're like, bro, like the focus of this video is the dance. It's not the music. So why there hasn't been a revenue split in this is beyond me. I don't understand how there isn't a 70-30 dancer music artist revenue split on any of these platforms, because it's building community around a song, around an artist. There's been multiple songs that went viral because of a dance video. But for whatever reason, it's like, oh, it's just dance. Demonetized. That's mine. How do you feel about this?
I don't know if it's because they see us as expandable. It's like, well, we can always get another dancer, right? So they don't really see the value in that. That could be a reason. I tell dancers, yo, to survive, like you're gonna be in this bubble forever unless you stand out, make a name for yourself, and then can utilize like an audience or find another way to monetize your dancing. Because right now, most dancers monetized because of somebody else, right? You go to the audition, you get hired, but it's hard for you to monetize it on your own. And then once your body gives up on you, it's like, what are you gonna do then? You're no longer useful.
Bro, so, I mean, okay, think of it this way. When you're a professional basketball player, you have the NBA. Football player, NFL, right? There's a professional level at which you get paid to do this super niche physical activity for entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Now, I get people aren't doing that for dance where they're, oh, I'm going to the show to watch these dancers perform, right? It's a rarity. Jabba is a crazy exception because they're a character, right? Like, I don't think the La Twins could have their own show. Why? Because they're not a character. Somebody that doesn't know dance is going to assume that everything they do is exactly the same. Okay, they've been doing the same thing for the past 30 minutes. Like, okay, I'm over it, right? Jabba is a character. So there's more to that whole situation. So I think they're an anomaly. Could some crews do that? Kinjas, potentially, sure. But it's a characterization, right? I think the underlying issue with that is there is no professional level for a dancer besides being an accessory to an artist on stage. And even so, on stage, they're still treated as the dancer. Oh, they're just the dancer. It's like, bro, like if you took your dancers off the stage, your show would dramatically decrease.
But there's just so much supply of dancers, though. That's the problem.
And I think,
if you're not willing to do it, another dancer probably would. And
I think that's the challenge, right? Is like, okay, I want quality dancers, right? I think the challenge is the people that are hiring dancers. I don't want to say hiring because a lot of them are the choreographer that are hiring the dancers, but the management of these recording artists don't really understand the value that these dancers are actually bringing. Could you just grab a dancer off the street that could do what this dancer is doing? No, you can't. Why? Because rehearsal times are a thing. Because learning and executing is a thing. I can't just get somebody that's dancing a year, learn an entire set in a day that we have to perform on Friday. It's not going to happen because they don't have the experience to do it and their body isn't built yet for that. So I think a lot of that is looked over. And other dancers will say, hey, I'm experienced enough. I can do this. I'll take a lower rate to do that. Like they'll undercut all day. And it's like you are killing your own industry and you don't even know it.
There's also a lot of promises made, right? Oh, if you take this gig, it might lead to other opportunities.
It's exposure.
It's kind of like the people exposure. It's like the people who do extra work they're like background extras or actors. Bro, you're just an extra in the background. Like this is not gonna lead anywhere. You're not gonna get noticed, or a producer's gonna come to you. It's like, oh yeah, we want to give you. We love the way you stood there.
Right.
We're gonna give you a speaking role. Like no.
But you know what's crazy though? The extras in these movies will get paid, or in TV shows will get paid more than the dancers would in a rehearsal. That's just the real shit. It's kind of wild. You're like, bro, what? Like I've seen people that will go for a fitting. They get paid for a fitting. They go and get fitted for whatever they're wearing in their show that they are in. And their fitting rate is more than an 8-hour rehearsal for a dancer. That doesn't even make sense.
Versus somebody who has years of experience who had to build up to that level.
Bruh,
probably
and then
spend lots of money on classes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars these dancers have spent over their life, bro. And then you like, okay, if you're talking about basketball, right? People are like, oh, why do basketball players make all this kind of money? One is entertainment, right? You have people come into the stadium, they're watching them play, blah, blah. But because they're this specific high echelon percentage of a human, they know that at a certain time, they can no longer do this, right? So the pay is attributed to that. Okay, cool. Once you're 36, 37, there's no way your body can just continue to keep doing this. So we've been paying you all this money up until this point. So when you retire, you can actually live. Oh, damn, I have money saved up. I got all, like, we're good, right? Dancers don't have that luxury at all. At all, bro.
No. And that's part of the reason why, even though I was on my way or on the path of becoming like a full-time professional dancer, I'm just like, yo, I already started seeing some of the red flags for the future. Because, I'm a type of person who likes to plan ahead, 10 years from now, etc. So I'm just like, yo, I got to do something else. I'm still always going to be a dancer. That's never going to stop. But, like, as a career, it's a tough path, man. If you're going to do it as a career, you got to advise people. You got to stand out somehow, build your own brand around it, build your own audience so that you can do something with it.
Right. I think
you can always try to pivot.
Right. I mean, so, because I've been seeing some dancers that are super popular choreographers, X, Y, and Z, that they feel some kind of way about the TikTok rise of dance, right, in that space. And as a dancer yourself, like, when you see certain people blowing up on TikTok doing dance stuff that may not be skilled dancers, but they're blowing up because they're doing like these little trends, and all you got to do is body roll with your hands, or if you do a fucking elbow snap or you clap at the camera, you're a dancer now. How do you feel about that? Because I have feelings about it, but I want to know like your thoughts about people blowing up doing basically party dances, right? Like there's nothing super skilled or intricate about it. But as a dancer, like, how do you receive that? Like, how do you feel about it?
I think of it as the same way when I see some random Dragon Ball channel making crappy content blowing up, which is don't mind it because there's an audience for it.
Correct.
And the audience dictates the market.
I agree.
Right. So yeah, maybe a professional person, like we're just like, yo, that makes no sense. But who is the audience of that video? Why is that video blowing up? Because just random young people are just like finding this entertainment. They don't understand the skill aspect of it, the technical aspect of it. So I'm not upset. That's just the market. And for me, you can't really get upset over that. You need to either learn how to adapt and kind of generalize I mean, it's kind of like a YouTube video where we want to make smart videos. But then you have a conversation with an expert, like I spoke to Roberto Blake, and he's like, yo, you got to keep it real. Sometimes you got to dumb down your content a little bit.
Facts.
To appeal to a more general audience.
Yeah, same thing I agree.
I mean, so I don't get upset over it.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way, bro. Because it's funny to me when I watch it. I'm like, oh, wow, this is so crazy. This is what's out. Like, this is what's killing it, right? And I know people that are seasoned, that are professionals, that work in the industry, and they feel some kind of way. And I'm like, look, like, you got to understand, bro, like, your complexity of dance on that platform does not work. It just doesn't work. They want fun dance. They want things that they can do themselves, that they can contribute into the, you know what I'm saying? They like, oh, that's a trend. That's a whatever. We're going to do this now because that's what's popping right now. Right. So, but if you have a choreography piece on there, they can't do that, bro. So, and is it dope enough for them to stay on the video after 5 seconds?
Right.
So then it's like,
well, you're seeing same thing with boxing. The boxers like, yo, why is this Logan Paul guy making millions and I spent years and I'm making just only like $50,000? And it's like, well, you got people like, why am I forgetting his name? Famous boxer, Mike Tyson. Yo, something's going on here.
It's all good.
Mike Tyson saying, thank you, Logan Paul, for bringing more eyes to boxing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like the level of us, but you're bringing more of a young.
How did you feel about that fight, by the way? How did you feel about the
Which fight?
Logan versus Mayweather.
I felt cheated because, I felt that Mayweather was going easy on him.
100%.
And I felt that Logan Paul, at times, I felt like Mayweather was going easy on Logan. And he was just having a good time. The fact that they were smiling at each other, I'm like, are they taking this seriously? Bro, like, I want to see you guys both go at each other. But no, it felt at times like they were just there for the money, just to have fun. I wasn't upset because, I mean, what do you expect, right? Like, I knew it was going to be more about the entertainment aspect of it. But I did want to see Logan put up more of a bigger fight. Although I didn't expect too much from him. I expect much more from Jake Paul because I feel like Jake Paul actually wants to be a boxer. Whereas Logan Paul is just doing it for the money and for the views.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that's kind of wild. I thought it was funny. I think the interesting thing is, at least for me, people that don't really watch boxing at all, and I'm not saying I'm a fucking boxing expert because I'm not a boxer at all. I'm a fan, just like the majority of people that talk about boxing. But I was going just off of like, what I think being a dancer, you're looking at detail, right? I'm looking at details on body. I'm looking at endurance. I'm looking at these things that I'm like, okay, you could tell Logan was completely outclassed in endurance, first and foremost. 2, Mayweather didn't even train. He was like, I train like once or twice a week, right? When leading up to McGregor, he was training. And even in that fight, he threw almost 2 to 3 times more punches in the McGregor fight than he did Logan Paul, which tells you he did not take Logan Paul serious at all because he wasn't even hitting him. But then you start looking at the numbers after the fight was done. You're like, oh yeah, Logan Paul won. I'm like, how, bro? Like, Logan Paul threw twice as many punches as Mayweather and landed half as many that Mayweather landed. Like, bro, like, this is not, I was like, the win for Logan is the fact that my man had y'all pay all this money to watch my man get a paycheck. That was the win for him, right? So I respect the move. I thought the move was genius. I thought it was a dope business move for him. I thought it was awesome. The craziness to me right now is I don't know if he's serious, but did you hear about him saying that he thinks he could beat Mike Tyson?
He's doing it for the money, bro. He's doing it for the money.
I was like,
Paul,
stop
I
it.
think it's way. I think Jake Paul wants to take it. I would actually pay good money to see Jake Paul versus Mayweather because I know for a fact Jake Paul is going to be training his ass off and like working hard.
I mean, Logan was training as well. Logan was training quite a bit for Mayweather, but I think Jake is more in tune with boxing than Logan is. Logan was a wrestler, and there's footage of him actually grappling people in the UFC. Like, he's legit as a wrestler. He's a legit grappler. But as a standing up boxer, like he's not really. He understands fighting, but he's not like a boxer. I think Jake is more in the boxing for real than Logan is for sure.
I had more fun watching TikTokers versus YouTubers. That was a much more
I didn't even see it, bro. I didn't even see it. How was that?
Oh, it was good, bro. Some of these people really showed up, and yeah, Jarvis was killing it. It was much better because you feel like everybody was actually trying. There was no, you know, it wasn't just for the money. It was for the reputation too. You don't want to have video of you getting knocked out. So these people are like fighting for their lives, and yeah, it was cool to watch.
I mean,
performances, less. Right. It was just straight to the fight.
I mean, so that was the thing too with Mayweather is I think people that don't watch boxing, that were Logan Paul fans that came to see Logan Paul fight a boxer, don't like. Mayweather is known as a defensive, if not the best defensive fighter of all time. He is not an attack type of boxer. He's waiting for you to punch to counter. That's what he does. So when Logan's talking about Mike, he's like, oh, well, he's old. Like, bro, Mike does not play. Like, Mike is an attacker. 1, 2, you were like, I think 30 pounds heavier than Mayweather at the weigh-in, but I think on the fight day he might have been 40 pounds heavier than Mayweather, right? So you're a heavyweight fighting. I don't know if he's a welterweight or I'm not sure what weight class Mayweather's in, but you were fighting a small-bodied human, right? Mike is not small. He's bigger than you. So he's bigger than you, and he fights people that are bigger than him, that are actually boxers. When he fought Roy Jones after that fight, did you watch that fight? Tyson versus Roy Jones? Roy after the fight was like, he was wheezing, bro. He's like, no, them things hurt. Like, he was like, no, those punches hurt.
You hit hard.
Bro, like, Logan would get decimated, bro. Like, Tyson has no chill. He is going to try to rip your head off. So I don't.
Well, that's why I love
know.
the guy, because you know that Mayweather is doing it for the money. Mike Tyson, it don't matter how much he's getting paid, right? Even if he's getting paid a lot, he's still gonna try to put out, like, he's gonna put effort in terms of when he's actually there.
But see, I don't think it's even the money thing with Mayweather. He's a defensive fighter, so he's not an attacker. He's always been, I'm gonna wait for you to punch, boom, boom, and I'm gonna hit you back. Like, that's just how he operates. Tyson does not operate like that. He will run at you and bully you.
Well, he's coming to knock you out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, so I'm like, I think, I mean, I would still pay for it. Don't get it twisted. I will pay to watch that fight. But I do not think that is smart for Logan Paul.
I don't care how much you pay me. I would never get in a ring with Mike Tyson.
No way, bro. I don't care how old he is, bro. No way. No way, bro. No.
No way.
No, I'm good.
I'm millions. Just not
I don't need to prove anything, bro. I'm good. No way. I don't care how popular I am. I'm not getting hit by Mike Tyson ever. No way, bro. There's no way. Bro, when you saw him training up for that fight and he's hitting bags and he's hitting his trainer, I was like, no.
Monster.
No way. You shouldn't be able to move like that at your age, bro. There's no way. No. I'm good.
He's awesome. He was such a good team player too. Like, yo, I want to do this again. And then Ro was like, no, bro, I don't know about that.
Yeah, bro. He's like, no, I'm cool. I don't know if I'm gonna do this again. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie though. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Holyfield as a rematch. I'm not gonna lie. I think that would be really dope to see Tyson and Holyfield again, because I think Holyfield beat Tyson twice. I think he beat him because obviously the first time he got disqualified because he bit his ear off, but the second time, I think he lost again if my memory serves me correct. But I'd actually like to see them as old men fight.
People pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah,
I think he wants to get back into it. I don't think Mike Tyson is. If he gets an opportunity like that, I think he'll take it.
Possibly, but I think Holyfield will try to hurt Tyson though. I think that's the thing too, where it's like it would be like you got two old guys really trying to hurt each other. I'm like, oof, like this is not like sport, like they trying to go for blood. So I don't know if Mike would actually want to sign up for that because like they're older. Like you get hit incorrectly at that age, something could be really bad.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if that's smart, but I'd still think I would watch it. I still think I would watch it.
Anything with Mike Tyson fighting, even just training, I'll watch it. Guy's a beast.
So so I think with this, like back to your YouTubers versus TikToker thing, like do you think like the influencer fighting thing, like how do you feel about it? Because I really haven't seen I didn't even see the KSI versus Logan situation. I didn't see any of this stuff. So I heard about it, but like what do you feel about the whole genre?
Two ways of looking at it. One, as a fan, I think it's entertaining. So I love it from that aspect of it. Don't really care so much about certain aspects of sports. I don't care too much about like who's the best, right? But when you're putting in it's celebrity boxing essentially. Celebrity boxing is always fun. Celebrity fighting. But number two, it puts YouTubers, content creators, influencers on the map in terms of mainstream media. Maybe we're gonna be taking it a little bit more seriously. One of the things that really annoyed me about the Logan Paul versus Mayweather fight, you had the host probably making maybe like $45,000-$50,000 a year, let's say 70, making fun of Logan Paul, oh, this YouTuber who's making millions every year, who's successful, right? You had the judges talking about, haha, we make good, or sorry, the announcers making fun of the YouTuber guy, the TikToker guy, or oh, he just does a little dance, like so stupid, haha. It's like, bro, they don't take us seriously. They look down on us, right? And I think now that you're starting to see more serious people fight against these YouTubers and YouTubers fighting against TikTokers, etc., they're being taken more seriously by the mainstream media. And I think that's always a positive thing for the industry, for us. It might lead to bigger ad payments, right? Sponsorships. You know that television ads pay way more than internet ads. Right. Well, I feel that at some point it's going to flip where ads are going to become more expensive, which is going to help benefit creators. They're going to finally pay us what we're worth. Our true value. Well, so, I mean, yeah, I'm totally for it, bro.
Yeah, here's my thing, right? Because my thing with the social idea of creators never really bothered me, and I think because of dance, it actually made me not worry about it because of the fact that I was always under the impression, even in dance, it's not what you're worth, it's what you negotiate. Because I think people are like, oh, well, I'm worth this. Well, did you negotiate that? Because that's a skill that you have to develop. I've been on brand deals with people that other creators are on, and they say, oh, did you get paid X, Y, and Z? I'm like, no, I got paid way more than that. What? Well, they offered me this. I didn't take the offer. Because I'm looking at it from the perspective of your brand is contacting me because you want my audience. Right. And you're going direct to consumer. You're not going on a network saying, we're going to pay $30,000 for this ad placement at this time. And hopefully the people that are watching this show at this time have some interest in this ad that runs. Right? As opposed to you're coming to my platform, which is a network, and you're targeting audience that is specific for your brand that is coming from me. So you're going to pay for that. They're like, oh, well, we'll charge you for the conversion. Nah, I'm charging you for exposure in the same way that you're charging the same way on a TV network. You're getting charged for exposure, not conversion.
Not conversion. That's right.
So I don't do we'll pay you every time somebody clicks a link. Well, you could suck a dick because I'm not doing that. We could stop that right now.
Here's a little tip if you want to increase how much you get paid from a sponsor. Right? There's a couple of ways to do it. To maximize that. It basically showing them your value. Number one, especially somebody like you who works with tech, how much does it cost for a brand to hire a production team to film a commercial, right? So if they're going directly to you, not only, and you're in the position that you make good quality content, not only are they getting your audience, not only are they getting essentially your endorsement, but they're also getting a quality video that's going to cost them way more to do themselves.
Correct.
On top of that, you can also license the video. Say, hey, right now what you're paying for, you're only paying for me promoting your product for a period of time, maybe 30 days. Right. After 30 days, my contract says that I have the right, like I have my own contracts, that I can remove that ad placement. That's only valid for 30 days.
100%.
But if you want to use this video on your promotions, it's going to cost you a little bit extra. But it's still cheaper than you hiring your own team. And you get to use my face, right? So that licensing fee can be an additional source of income.
100%.
If you have an editor, somebody who's an artist, right? You let them know, hey, it's not just me. I have a team. They even might take you more seriously as like an actual business person, right? So those are little things, ways to maximize how much you get paid from a brand.
Bro, I can't
also
agree more.
Work on your delivery. Work on your delivery. Don't just do the standard ad placement, right? If you work on how impactful your ad placement is, that can give you more leverage with sponsors.
Yeah, I agree with the whole, especially with giving them a breakdown of what it's actually in. Because like you have people like, oh, we just want you to advertise this software, this whatever, X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay. So then I give them a breakdown of time, right? I give them like, okay, cool. So writing of the ad is going to be this much, right? Because it's going to take time for me to, write out what the ad is going to be. So scripting, right? So you have that. Yeah. Cool. Then we have a shot list. So me giving you exactly what's going on with, the ad itself. Awesome. Then I'm going to give you a breakdown of how long it's going to take for me to learn what it is you want me to do. Oh, we're talking about this game. Well, I need to play said game. I need to know what this game is to actually give an actual honest opinion on what this actually is versus me just regurgitating what things you're wanting me to say in this ad. Cool. Well, let me actually get some research done on whatever software, game, whatever. And then we're talking about deliverables. Okay, well, what do you want to deliver it in? Do you want to deliver it in 1080p? Do you want to deliver it in 4K? What, like, if I'm doing the same thing for a company that's hiring me to shoot something for Ismahawk, and we're like, okay, we want you to shoot this commercial for us. Okay, cool. There's packages then. Do you want it shot on a Red? Do you want it shot on an FS7, an FS9? Like, what do you want it shot? Like, that matters because the quality of the image matters. So when you're breaking things down like that, there's now value that you're showing them. Okay, he's not just some guy that I can just be like, oh, we're going to pay you $100 for an ad placement. Like, what? The time it takes me just to do post-production, that's not even a cover an hour. So what are we talking about right now? Like, so I think if you can, to your point, if you come to them in a professional manner of understanding from top to bottom, from start to finish, what your pipeline of workflow looks like, they look at you completely different. They're like, oh, he's not just some boo-boo Eddie guy that we saw doing YouTube videos. Like, he's actually doing some real, like, I agree with you 1,000%, bro.
Yeah, no, they'll take you more seriously. So it's just having that. That's why I've been watching a lot of business videos. My recommendations on YouTube is just all business, negotiating, how to close sales, because you need to, for them to see that value, right? They might say, oh, it's expensive. Well, is it really expensive when you break it down, like you said?
Yeah.
Or is it actually cheap? I'm actually cheap compared to what you will pay for outside
and
of
you're going directly to the market that you're trying to target. It's not like you're just shooting in the dark saying, okay, I'm going to spend 30 racks and hopefully some people go to the website after they see this commercial 7 times. Because
Right.
usually it takes about 7 exposures for somebody to actually want to, like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. And that's the other thing where you have, let's say, I'm giving an example. I'm not saying this is the definitive, but let's say Raid Shadow Legends, right? Because everybody had a raid thing, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
this is what I would get when companies would say, okay, well, on your conversion link, I'm saying, okay, so let me paint you like this. How many people do you have right now on a Raid Shadow Legend sponsorship? Oh, we have X amount. Okay, cool. Now, if you have X amount of people and the first person sees mine and they're like, oh, Raid Shadow Legends. And then 2 videos later, they see somebody else with a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship. To them, they're like, oh, this Raid Shadow Legends thing. And then they watch 2 videos later and they find another one. They're like, maybe I should download Raid Shadow Legends. And that person gets a click. So do me and the previous person get some kind of kickback because they saw our thing to supplant the idea that they should get it? No, we don't. Which is why it's an exposure thing. It's not a conversion thing. So I think a lot of people don't understand how sales works. So they just bite and say, okay, I'll take the $100 whatever in the $2 conversion click or whatever they want to sell you on. And I'm not saying that that's what Raid does, by the way, guys. So if you guys are like, oh, Raid does, that's not what I'm saying that they do. I'm just giving you an example. But
I don't hate on people who do a promotion for Raid, because at least the way I did it when they reach out to me is I let them know I gotta play your game first. If I don't enjoy this game,
facts,
and I can't see people who would enjoy it, I'm not gonna do a sponsorship with you.
I did the same thing.
The only difficult part was the messaging. You know, I wanted more creative freedom, and I let them know, like, I'm not gonna say anything I don't agree with. Like, I have to say only things that I agree with. Otherwise, no. And they're a little bit more strict with the way they want their sponsorships, right? Some brands will like, yeah, do whatever you want. Some brands give you a guideline, but yeah, no, it's very important, bro, to maximize how much you can make from sponsorships, because a lot of them undervalue our work. A lot of brands do.
100%. Well, because they see that it's an undervalued space for them to get maximum ROI. They're like, oh, like this is cheap at the moment. They know it's an ATM at the moment. Like, oh, it's an at the moment situation. You know, it will get more expensive as social becomes more of the forefront when it comes to advertising. But right now, it's like we're getting a steal. But it's only because the majority of creators don't understand the value of what they're selling right now. They're like, you're selling them a network essentially, and it's undervalued right now dramatically. You know what I'm saying? So, and they'll skip over a lot of people that will ask more because like, oh, well, I can get another person that will take X, Y, and Z, and that's fine. But
to creators, see, some brands only want. Literally, all they want is exposure, and that's totally fine. So in those cases, don't overwork yourself as a creator, is what I would say to creators. Like, if you want to do this fancy brand promotion, and literally all they care about is just the views, then just make it simple. Don't put too much time on something that they don't need, right? But when it's a brand that can value your work, and you want to put more effort into it, then that's great. You communicate that with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think some companies though some companies are really ahead of the curve. And I'm not just saying this because I'm wearing the shirt right now. Webtoon is one of those companies that understand the value of what content creators build for community around their IPs. They're very cognizant of it. So much to the point. Check this out. They did a compilation video of reactions to Tower of God's anime. They did a compilation, which was the first time I did something with them. They hit me up like, hey, we want to use your video in a compilation of reactions to Tower of God. I was like, sure. And then there was another thing that they hit me up about, and they were like, hey, just so you know, this is our criteria for reaction videos. They gave me actual things to say, okay, if you do this, and this, you're good for the reaction.
Wow.
I was like,
that's beautiful.
I was like, yo, so y'all telling me y'all giving me actual guidelines to make sure that I'm not going to get copyright claimed? Like, they're way ahead of understanding what this type of content does, building community around their IP.
And that's what a lot of these Japanese companies don't understand. We creators, want the products to be successful, want the shows, we want to work with them.
Correct.
Right? So tell us what we need to do in order to, fit those guidelines. But a lot of them just say, no, they'll just strike you down.
Yeah.
Right? And it's counterintuitive to their own marketing and to their public relations.
100%.
And it creates, at least in the West, it creates a negative look on their branding, on their brand.
100%. And I think too, like, I think sometimes reactions, I think specifically, content owners don't understand that people are coming to the reaction to rewatch something they've already watched. They're not coming there to watch it brand new. They're coming there saying, oh, I want to see how this person reacted to this moment. That's the point of a reaction. It's not, hey, I'm coming here and watching something that I haven't consumed yet. Are you going to get the rare ones?
I've learned about animes by watching, for example, Noxtaku will do something where he has YouTubers and he shows them a bunch of clips. And I'm just like, yo, I never heard of that show, but that looks awesome. Let me search that up.
It's wild, bro. Like, so here's been the thing that I've been seeing. I've experienced it myself. I think you've put something out on this as well about the idea that a fake company can pose as a Toei, could pose as a legitimate company and claim your content, and then you appeal and they can just say, nope.
It's dumb. I blame more YouTube. See,
100%.
because the thing about YouTube is that there's a system where the company then needs to prove that you get to a point in that process where the company needs to show proof that they are actually suing you. Mm-hmm. The problem, though, is that YouTube sometimes doesn't even allow you to submit your counterclaim.
Yeah.
So you literally have your hands tied behind your back. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. I think that too. And I think also YouTube, the way their system is set up is it actually doesn't tie them legally. Right? So they're not the one saying yes or no. They're just the intermediary between you and the other person that is claiming your content, right? So they're like, okay, well, this person said you did this. And you're like, no, I didn't. Well, you need to talk to them about it. That's basically, it's kind of what it's almost like a he said, she said, and it's like a third party saying, oh, well, such and such said you was talking about them. Well, I didn't. Well, you need to talk to that person because...
Then why prevent us from submitting a counterclaim? It just makes no sense.
Right,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, I hate the system. And the other issue is that there's no consequences, bro.
Correct.
You have literally Warner Bros. Copyright striking Geekdom's video on Matrix 4. You heard about that?
No.
Yeah, because he talked about the script. He didn't show any footage, nothing, just him talking. They copyright strike his video. That's illegal. There will be no consequences, which is why they'll do it again.
Right.
That's
and I think
the problem. That YouTube has no consequences.
And here's the thing too, right? Where I understand on the Warner Bros. Side of like, look, like that's our IP. And you are discussing something that is unreleased that could affect our business because you're talking. I understand the concept of that. However, the other side of it, of you going into saying, well, we're just going to claim your stuff because of whatever, and there's no dialogue between it. There's no discussion. There's no, nope, that's ours. What's yours? What's yours in this video? Is it the fact that I'm discussing your IP, or because the video is mine? I've created this. So what? I think that's the gray area that they define as black and white that I don't really get.
Well, it's Geekdom. He's just doing news reporting.
Right.
He's literally just reporting on leaks. It's not like he works for that company. Right?
Correct.
He didn't break any laws. He's not violating any laws. It's just news reporting, which is why they don't have ownership over the fact that he's talking about the script.
Right. So weird, bro.
If he was to show the script, maybe they could make. If he was to show the document, maybe they might have a case.
Right.
But he didn't. He just talked about it. News reporting. If CNN had done it, Warner Bros. Would have not done anything. But because it's a YouTuber, they're like, YouTube's not gonna do anything about it, so we're gonna strike him down illegally.
Yeah, it's actually wild, bro. Like there's. I think the other side too, like the content ID stuff, is interesting because you have, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, this company copyright claimed me. I was like, did they copyright? Like, 'cause there's different types of claims. You have the manual claims, which are basically somebody going in and saying, this is my shit, right? And then you have the content ID that is just like the software has detected somebody else's content in your content, right? Fine.
Fine. Yeah.
Right. Cool. That's somebody's in their library of content. And I think that's where a lot of the ignorance comes from people that are getting claimed by stuff like, oh, this company claimed me. It's like, did they claim you or did the content ID claim you? Because those are two completely different scenarios. Content ID claimed you, it means that their content is in the library for content ID. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, we see that as in your content. So, and there just needs to be a clearer way of appealing and figuring out what the resolve of is or what the revenue split is. There is no revenue split. And I think that's the issue for me where it's like, oh, partial, you're sharing revenue with this person. Okay, what's the split though? What does that mean?
And if we go into a split, there shouldn't be a way for them to then change their mind and give you a copyright strike.
I agree.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, it's really
But
weird.
here's the worst part of it. As bad as YouTube is, when compared to other platforms, YouTube has the best way of fighting back against false strikes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have pages on Facebook, 1 million followers, completely taken down, demonetized, whatever. There's nothing you can do because their system sucks when fighting back against false strikes.
Yeah.
Twitter, it's hard to get something back when you get a false strike. I mean, so
Yeah.
YouTube is the best out of all of them, even though
I mean, I think, and I think that's the thing too, where in YouTube's defense, when you're talking about like appeals or something getting taken down or whatever, and you're going through this process of trying to get things reinstated, I know a lot of people are like, well, why don't they just have people do that? It's like, bro, do you know how many videos are uploaded a day on YouTube? How many hours of content is uploaded a day? And how many things are probably getting copyright claimed a day? Like, they cannot hire enough people there's not enough people on the planet that they could hire for them to go through individual videos to verify if said video is going against community guidelines or not. That's what the machine learning is there for in the first place. It's there to detect, right? It's an algorithmic thing. So can it be better? Yes. Does it need to be better? Yes. But there's got to be a way to make it a more streamlined process.
Something that annoys me about YouTube, and I feel like they're not being honest about this.
Okay.
Creator Insider. Have you heard of the channel Creator Insider by YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
They talk about how, you can take a break. It's not going to affect your channel. The algorithm. Right. Here is the thing.
That's
Before
bullshit,
I even
bro.
get into the algorithm.
That's bullshit,
BS,
bro. Sorry.
Their own website says that if you fall below 4,000 watch hours in a 12-month period, you will be removed from the partnership program. So it's a lie when they say you can take an indefinite break. If you take too long of a break, you will lose monetization. You will lose the ability to feed your family and your kids.
Facts.
So they're not being very honest about that. That it's not
Correct.
going to affect your channel whatsoever by taking a break.
Yeah,
Especially
bro.
if you're a small channel and you're like hovering over those 4,000 hours in 12 months, you have to choose your mental health or getting paid, feeding your family. And YouTube is not honest about that. They literally lie about it.
You know, I think that's too where it's like, because I mean, obviously me and you came into YouTube before they had that threshold, right? Before they had the 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subscribers. Like we came in before all of that process. So like our channels were like,
but you got to maintain it. The 4,000 watch hours.
Yeah.
Maintain it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying though is like a channel of our size that has thousands of hours of content on it. The idea that it's going to fall under 4,000 is probably slim to none. Even if you put up a couple videos a year, you have a backlog of content people are probably going to go check out anyways, right? So, but I think on the other side of that, as a new creator, is to your point, you don't really have that luck. Like you have to beat the pavement. And I think when people say, oh, when you start a new channel, you need to be consistent, X, Y, Z. It's like, well, that's actually counterintuitive to creation. Because consistency, and I used to tell people, I used to preach this shit early on because I was ignorant in the idea that that's just how it worked. Oh, you got to be consistent. Okay, let's just take this idea. I want to start a YouTube channel. Cool. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I do a couple videos and I find out, man, like this third video I got to do, and I'm like, I'm not really passionate about this, but I kind of want to do something else in a video, but it doesn't fit my niche. Okay, well, I have to be consistent on what I started on, so I have to now force something out. And it almost starts to become a chore because you're not allowing creative freedom to really figure out how you want your channel to evolve organically. To be like, oh, this is the type of content I actually want to do, right? But early on, we're telling people, oh, be consistent, pick a thing, and just do that. It's like, yeah, but that sounds great on paper. But creatively, you're going to get bored at a certain point of doing this when you first start out. And you'll be like, okay, well, how do I figure this out? Like, do I want to switch this up? But you've been told to be consistent and stick in this niche. It's really weird how counterintuitive that is. And it kind of goes to your point of like, well, if I have to hit this threshold, I am now doing work that's not fulfilling because I want to make sure I can uphold this threshold so I don't lose the money that I'm making on videos now. But if I then change it up, it may hurt because people aren't really excited about that content yet on my channel. And it may bring it's really strange.
But is it really that people aren't excited about it? Open up the YouTube app. Right away, you'll notice. I mean, in the past, it was homepage, trending, subscription, and library. By default, you have the homepage. The subscription page should be the default when you open up the tab.
Facts.
That should be what is being prioritized and promoted. And then if you're curious about unrelated content that you're not subscribed to, then you can click on the other tab.
I agree.
YouTube themselves don't promote the fact that when you subscribe to a channel, that should be the first thing that pops up when you open the app.
It's
gotten better with shorts now being taken over the trending page, but still a lot of work that can be done.
I'm with you 1,000% on that, bro. I feel like the idea of how the app is laid out and its terrible idea of notifications. I hated when they changed it. And I'm rarely a person that's like, oh, it used to be this way, we should go back. I'm usually not that type of person, but I feel like the notification system, that was a stupid move. It was just stupid. You're gonna subscribe. Okay, cool. I'm subscribing because I want to see more of his content or more of her content. Cool. But then you have another step. And another step. It's just too many steps, bro. You subscribe, or you got to subscribe. Hit the bell. Okay, hit the bell. But then when you hit the bell, you have to say, okay, I want all. It's like, hold on, time out. What? Just subscribe. If you then want to dial back how often that person is shown to you, you should then be able to go in and say, okay, I want it afterwards. I want to drop it down to this. Not start that way. That doesn't make sense. Usually people subscribe because they're excited about seeing more about you. You don't then temper that from jump. You let them temper it later.
And if YouTube is worried that their feed is going to become overflown, then bro, give us a way for the system based on how we set our channel and customize our channel, have a way for in the subscription feed for basically YouTube to automatically compile channels under different categories. So if I want to see what the anime channels posted for today, there'll be like an anime section, and it will open up the recent videos from my anime channels that I'm subscribed to. Something like that. I mean, there are solutions.
That would be dope. That'd be like almost like a subscription folder where it's like, oh, these are all the anime channels that I subscribe to, or these are that'd be dope.
Right. Because I understand, right? If you subscribe to so many channels, it can be kind of hard with the feed becoming overflown. But if you can categorize and have a way for us to categorize, that'll be much easier. That's a vibe. Right now, I've been watching a lot of After Effects because I'm a Adobe certified professional in Photoshop and Premiere Pro.
Oh, dope.
And I feel that I've reached the maximum level with Premiere Pro. I know the whole thing inside out, but now if I want to improve, I need to go into After Effects. So my whole recommendation has been just full of After Effects because I'm trying to get better at it, which means everything else is being pushed, and I'm not really seeing everything else in my home feed. Right. It would be nice to be able to categorize all that content.
Yeah, I mean that's dope. I agree, and I think algorithmically, it's always going to push what you're most recently looking. So, and that could change day to day based on your interest that day. Like if you go down a rabbit hole in cat videos, the next thing you know, all of your recommendations are cat videos. It's like, look, bro, like I'm not looking for cat videos every day, but like, yes, I was looking at it last night. Like it's really weird how that works. But I think it almost kind of goes into what people talk. I was talking about last year with social media being a mirror. It mirrors you. Whether like, yeah. And I think that's a lot of people that don't get that, especially when it comes to like politics or whatever. They see something that is out of what they usually see, and they immediately say that thing is false. It's like, well, I've never heard of that. It's like, yeah, because you only follow things that say one thing, because it's you're only interested in that type of content. So it just keeps regurgitating content that you're seeing all the time. You put yourself in this social bubble and you have no idea that you've done that to yourself.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I mean, you have people going online, YouTube is recommending me QAnon stuff. Well, maybe you were searching a lot of QAnon stuff.
It's really weird, bro. It's so funny, bro. I'm like, yo, this is really strange. But a lot of people just don't know how it works. They just don't get how...
One of the biggest tools, most powerful tools if you want to grow a channel is the rabbit hole. You look at it right now, when it comes to YouTube Shorts, for example, one of the biggest ways to the channels that are benefiting are 3D artists who are doing looping videos. They literally make like a 5-second video, 6-second video, and they just, because of the way YouTube Shorts, it just autoplays. And you don't realize that it's autoplaying. So by the time you click off, you have a 300% watch time, and the algorithm boosts your overall channel and your videos. Same with the rabbit hole. If you have a series of videos, right, somebody likes one video, then they click on the next, and they click on the next, all of a sudden your channel is being shown to them more. And that's one of the things that we as creators need to implement, is figure out our strategy. How can we structure a content where it's relatable to the previous content and the next, and it can trap an audience, a new viewer, into a rabbit hole?
No, that's dope. And I think I agree with you 100%. It's figuring out how to I don't want to say it gamifies it, but it almost it turns things into episodes. It's like it episodically grabs them of like, okay, cool. Oh, cliffhanger. Okay, what's next? Like it's almost like that's actually really fire. That's dope. I dig that a lot. I need to do more with shorts. I need to do more with shorts.
I wish we didn't have to. I wish we can just make content and whatever, but
it is what it is. What it is. It is what it is. Like
what it is.
It's finding what those tools look like, man. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you this because I asked Alana this, and I know you being a connoisseur of anime, they're gonna ask, and I need to ask you this real quick. Top 5. I gotta ask you, top 5 anime for you for Mr. Senpai. What's your top 5, bro?
Woo. Oh, it's always a tough question to ask that every fan. I would say Konosuba is definitely one of my.
Okay.
I can't give you in order.
In an order,
but I will tell you my top 5.
Yep.
Konosuba, when it comes to comedy, I love that series. Prison School, hilarious.
Prison School. Okay.
Dragon Ball. Yeah, Dragon Ball. Obviously, the whole Dragon Ball franchise. So I'm just not gonna one show. Death Note is obviously up there. Another one. Oh man, I think I have one left. Right, this is really tough.
Yep.
If I had to pick, man, you're making me choose between like 20 favorite animes.
Yeah, bro, it's so tough. It's so tough for sure.
It's really a tough one. I would say something like Fire Force.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Fire Force has some of the best sound design. 100%. I'm not talking about music.
Sound design.
Sound design.
It's incredible,
you
bro.
You feel it. And how the hell do you keep consistently top level quality from episode to episode? You would think you have 5 episodes of like crappy quality and then the next episode like hardcore. No, they consistently maintain animation level, top quality. So, and there's comedy, Obviously, there's good characters. There's a lot of elements to it where overall it's a great experience.
Yeah, I like Fire Force. I'm not gonna lie though. Season 2 right now is it's hard for me to get through. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's super. One of the things that I've noticed in season 2 for me, because I'm at episode 19, I just got finished watching, and is the pacing of episodes. I feel certain things can be consolidated quite a bit. And
Yeah,
there's episodes I'm
it's
like,
very
why did
consistent.
we do this? Like this could have been, these 3 episodes could have been one episode. Why are we like, some things just take too long, and that for me I think is just my personal taste of wanting things to move quickly. Once I get information, I'm like, okay, cool, let's move this on. Like, why are we still going through this right now? So for me, that's my
That's why you hate ReZero.
no,
You probably feel the
ReZero
same.
for me. ReZero for me, bro, is, and me and Toshi were trying to figure this out. There's a couple of things. Subaru as a character, one is the dumbest main character I've ever seen in my life. Number 2 is he reminds me of how I used to be. So there's a part of me that's like, it's irritated because I'm like, bro, like you need to get out of this. You need to get out of this, bro.
I used to be a simp.
So, well, you have that, but then just some of the ideas of him not becoming better for himself. So there's some of these things that just it resonate with me, that I'm like, I used to be like this back in the day, and I needed to get out of that. And me seeing you still go through it is irritating to me. And then number 3 is, I feel like the same shit keeps happening over and over. It's like they have a game, and each level is the same mission, just reskinned enemies. It's like, how many times you're gonna go into a space unknowing and get your body sliced up and then be like, where's my leg? Where's my arm? Oh my God. Like, how many times is that gonna happen? I don't know. How many times are you not going to ask questions about a world that you're in that you're not from? He knows nothing of the world he's in. From where I'm at, he's not asking any questions. He's just going through shit. And then I think 4, the biggest thing for me anyways, is what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
Not leading anywhere.
I don't know where the fuck you're going.
Cases.
Like, what's your purpose? What's your plan? Who are you? Like, I don't know. So I'm like, bro, like this anime is a waste of my time. Like I don't know where this is going. So ReZero, the first season took 12 episodes to start moving. The second season, I had to pull out, bro. I was like, I can't do this, bro. Like, this is taking way too long. I don't understand the purpose of the show.
Go back in when you're bored and have nothing else to watch, because
I heard the end of season 2 gets really good, and I'm just like,
the end.
I need
you gotta go through 24 episodes,
bro. I need to go back and watch it, and I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think I'm going to react to it anymore, because I have a thing for me where I don't want to dog an anime that people like. People are coming to me to watch something because they enjoy it. They want to get my reaction on said thing, which is why I started reacting to JoJo. I don't want to dog something that you love, because I will dog it. You know, I'll be like, look, this is trash. Like, and I don't want to do that to something that you love, because now you're gonna be like, damn, like, fuck, I want him to like it. It's like, well, I don't like this shit. Like, I actually don't like it. So why are we wasting each other's time? Like, why are we wasting my time watching this and I don't like it, and you coming here hoping I'm gonna like it and I hate it?
If Rem was still active, it would make it much more enjoyable.
Rem is the GOAT, bro.
She's the GOAT. Also, how can I forget about Attack on Titan? So I have to switch it off with Prison School or something, because AOT, that's just like...
AOT's the GOAT, bro.
You cannot deny shit. AOT.
Do you read it or you just watch?
Politics, everything. Both.
So have you finished it? Have you finished it?
Yeah.
I love. I'm me and Toshi had said this, and people can be upset if they want. I think as a completed story, AOT is the GOAT right now for me. As a completed start to finish, is the GOAT. It's crazy. I'll see where One Piece ends up once One Piece ends in 20 years, but right now, AOT as a completed story is the GOAT for me. It's incredible. Oh my God.
It's definitely more of an adult it's got that Marvel quality when it comes. Actually, not even, bro. I mean, it's just a totally different level of
Yeah.
complexity. The
Yeah.
politics, the different factions. But I guess the closest I can come to is maybe Game of Thrones a little bit
Yeah.
in terms of
I
complexity.
I think it's because One Piece does it so well of tying back to things. Like One Piece, I think still has, when it comes to reference detail, is probably still the best because you can go back into previous chapters and see a character that they're now talking about that was in a
Oh
previous
wow!
panel that was in a back in in the same scenario, but you didn't know that person was there. Like the
Oh
detail of One
wow!
Piece is crazy. But AOT, the brilliant part of AOT is like how they connect stuff, and it's so unexpected of how they connect things. Like that last two chapters of AOT and how it connects to the first episode. Like you're just like, what is like? I was tearing up doing a live read with Toshi. I was like, this is incredible. Like it's wild. That shit is nuts, bro. Crazy.
You know, you feel something when an anime either makes you cry or almost makes you cry because you know it's
Yeah.
over. You're just like,
Yeah.
damn,
You're like,
what an
wow.
experience.
Yeah.
What a ride.
Yeah, so crazy, man. This is such a dope situation. Okay, so we got AOT in there for sure. Dope, man. That's a dope list. Guys, you gotta let us know what y'all think about John's list. I know you guys are gonna be like, what about Naruto? What about, I already know. I can
He only
already
gave
hear
me
it.
5 options. I'm working with 5 here.
He's
I
like,
wish you gave me
five.
20 or something.
Right, bro. I'm telling you, bro. But I appreciate you coming through, man, chatting with me, man. It's always dope talking to you.
Of course.
I can't wait to
Always
do
a
this
great
again. For the people that don't know, I don't know how, but they don't know where to find you on social. Where can they find you, bro?
Just search Mr. Senpai on YouTube. You'll find me there. Yeah, and hopefully by the time you do, I'll have some dope content on the way. So if you don't care too much about Dragon Ball, but there'll be other non-Dragon Ball content for sure. Still anime though.
Still anime, bro. Let's go.
And the editing is gonna continue to improve because that's what I'm working towards getting even better.
That's fire, bro. That's dope, man. That shit is fire. I wish I could spend more time. That's why I'm hiring editors because I can't spend more time, bro. I have too many things. I'm like, I need an editor bad. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time, bro. It's always a pleasure, man. And I'll catch you on the next one, bro.
Of course.